Look at that sky pop.
Praise the name of Jesus. Oh, praise the name of Jesus.
Hey, welcome back to that God Power channel. This is the channel where we're going to unlock the God Power land dormant on the inside of you. But first today what we're going to do is continue breaking down the book of Mark. Last time we left off on chapter 13, so let's pick up on chapter 14. Now chapter 14 is long and it is like intense. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it. If you didn't see chapter 13, make sure you go back and watch it. I'll put the video at the end of this video, like I'll put it in the cards. And then make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this information because it's dope. So, anyways, let's jump into it. Chapter 14. It was 2 days before the Passover festival of unleavened bread, and the leading priests and the leaders of religious law were still looking for an opportunity to capture Jesus secretly and kill him. But not during the Passover celebration, they agreed because the people would riot. So, meanwhile, Jesus was in a town called Bethany at the home of this dude named Simon, and he was a dude who had leprosy previously. Now, while he was eating, a woman came in with a beautiful alabaster jar of an expensive perfume made from essence of nard. And she broke open the jar and poured the perfume over Jesus' head. And some of the people at the table were indignant. They were pissed off. They're like, why waste such an expensive perfume? It could have been sold for a year's wages, and then the money been given to the poor. And so they scolded the lady harshly. But then Jesus said, leave her alone. Why criticize her for doing such a good thing to me? You will always have the poor among you, and you can help them at any time you want to, but you will not always have me. She has done what she could and has anointed my body for burial ahead of time. I tell you the truth, whenever the good news is preached throughout this world, this woman's deed will be discussed and remembered. So then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 disciples, went to the leading priests to arrange to betray Jesus to them. They were delighted when they heard that he had come, and they promised to give him some money. So he began looking for an opportunity to betray Jesus. On the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, when the Passover lamb is sacrificed, Jesus' disciples asked him, where do you want us to go to prepare the Passover meal for you? So Jesus sent 2 of them to Jerusalem with these instructions. As you go into the city, a man carrying a pitcher of water will meet you. Follow him. At the house he enters, say to the owner, the teacher asks, where is this great room where I can eat the Passover meal with my disciples? He will take you upstairs to a large room that is already set up. That is where you should prepare the meal. So the 2 disciples went into the city and found everything just as Jesus had said, and they prepared the Passover meal there. In the evening, Jesus arrived with the 12 disciples, and as they went to eat at the table, Jesus said, I tell you the truth, one of you eating with me will betray me. Greatly distressed, each one of them was like, am I the one? Am I the one? And he replied, it is one of you 12 who is eating from this bowl with me. For the Son of Man must die, as the scriptures declared long ago. But how terrible will it be for the one who betrays him? It will be far better for that man if he never were born. And that's crazy. That's like, eesh. Dang, Judas, we already seen at the beginning of this chapter that we know he's talking to you, fam. And you know he's talking to you. That has to feel horrible. So as they were eating, Jesus took some bread and blessed it. And then he broke it into pieces and gave it to the disciples, saying, this is my body. And then he took a cup of wine and thanked God for it. And he gave it to them, and they all drank from it. And he said to them, this is my blood, which comes from the covenant between God and his people. It is poured out as a sacrifice for many. I tell you the truth, I will not drink wine again until the day I drink it in the new kingdom of God. And they all started singing a hymn, and then they went outside to the Mount of Olives. So for everybody who likes wine, well, it's confirmed that wine will be in the new heaven. So if you enjoy drinking wine, well, there you go. You know, there's a lot of things that if you pay attention when you read this stuff, you can uncover a lot. Like we'll see some more as we go on. So on their way outside to the Mount of Olives, Jesus told them all. He was like, "All of you will desert me, for the scriptures say, God will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after I'm raised from the dead, I will go ahead of you to Galilee and meet you there." And then Peter said to him, "Even if everybody deserts you, I never will." And Jesus was like, "I tell you the truth, Peter, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will deny 3 times that you even know me." "No," Peter declared emphatically. "Even if I have to die with you, I will never deny you." And the others started to vow the same. And then they went to the olive grove called Gethsemane. Gethsemane. And Jesus said, "Sit here while I go pray." And then he took Peter, James, and John with him. And he became deeply troubled and distressed. He told them, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." And then he went on a little bit longer and he fell on the ground. And he prayed that, if it were possible, that the awful hour awaiting him might pass him by. He was like, "Abba, Father, everything is possible for you. Please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet, I want your will to be done, not mine." And then he returned to find his disciples asleep. He was like, "Simon, are you asleep? Couldn't you just watch with me for 1 hour? Couldn't you just watch and pray so that you will not give in to temptation? For the spirit is willing, but the body is weak." And then Jesus left again and prayed some more. He prayed the same prayer as before. And when he returned again, he found them sleeping again. And they couldn't even keep their eyes open, and they didn't even know what to say. And when he returned the third time, he said, "Go ahead and sleep. Have your rest. But no, the time has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Up, let's be going. Look, my betrayer's here." So Jesus knew that his betrayer was right there. He knew that the time had just come. Like, he has very good psychic powers if you didn't notice. um, Judas arrived with a crowd of men, and they had swords and clubs. And they'd been sent by the leading priests and the teachers of religious law and the elders. The traitor Judas had given them the prearranged signal. It was like, "You know which one to arrest when I greet him with a kiss. Then you could take him away under your guard." And so as soon as as soon as Judas walked up to Jesus, he said, "Rabbi," and then he gave him a kiss. And then the others grabbed Jesus and arrested him. But one of the men with Jesus pulled out his sword and struck the high priest, slicing off dude's ear. And Jesus asked them, "Am I some dangerous revolutionary that you come with swords and clubs to arrest me? Why didn't you arrest me in the temple when I was there among you teaching every day? Things are happening to fulfill what the scriptures say about me." And it says, "Then all his disciples deserted him and ran away." So Jesus just predicted that that would happen. Even the scriptures was what he was referring to when God strikes the shepherd, the sheep will scatter. And that's just what just happened right now. Just like not even 24 hours after he said it. But anyways, the disciples deserted him and ran away. There's a one dude that they chased after who was wearing a long linen shirt, and the mob tried to grab that dude, and he kind of like ripped out of his clothes and he ran away naked. This is how aggressive this mob was. So then they took Jesus to the high priest's home, where the leading priests, the elders, and the teachers of religious law were gathered. Meanwhile, Peter followed behind them at a distance and went right into the priest's courtyard. There he sat with the guards, warming himself by the fire. Now, inside the leading priests, the entire high council were there, and they were trying to find evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death. But they really couldn't find anything. And there was like many false witnesses spoke against him, but they started like contradicting each other. Testimony. They're like, we heard him say, I will destroy this temple made with human hands, and in 3 days I will build another made without human hands. But even then, they don't even get their story straight. So then the high priest stood up before the others and asked Jesus, well, aren't you going to answer these charges? What do you have to say for yourself? But Jesus was silent and had no reply. Then the high priest asked him, are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One? And Jesus said, I am. And you will see the Son of Man seated in the place of power at God's right hand, coming on the clouds of heaven. The high priest tore his clothes to show his horror and said, why do we need other witnesses? You all heard this blasphemy. Blasphemy? What's your verdict? Guilty, guilty, they all cried. He deserves to die. And then some of them began to spit at him. And then they blindfolded him and beat him with their fists. Prophecy to us, they jeered. And the guards slapped him as they took him away. Man, that's so messed up, man. Meanwhile, Peter was in the courtyard below. One of the the servant girls who worked for the high priest, she came by and she noticed Peter warming himself at the fire. She looked at him closely and said, you were one of those with Jesus of Nazareth. But Peter denied it. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he went out into the entryway. But just then a rooster crowed. And when the servant girl saw him standing there, she began telling the others, this man is definitely one of them. But Peter denied it again. A little later, some of the other bystanders confronted Peter and said, you must be one of them because you're a Galilean. Peter swore, a curse on me if I'm lying. I don't know this man you're talking about. And immediately a rooster crowed for the second time. And suddenly Jesus' words flashed through Peter's mind. It was, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny 3 times that you even know me. And then he broke down and started crying. So Peter felt horrible. And that's the end of chapter 14. Very, very long chapter, but a very, very impactful chapter. Craziness from the setup of Judas, one of his homies, one of the insiders, a traitor, going against him, selling him out, even though he predicted this was going to happen. And they all were like, no, it's not going to be me. It's not going to be me. But at the table, same energy. Judas was over there probably still denying, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the fact is that Judas was not a good homie. And he sold Jesus out. Now Jesus is in captivity and they're like beating him and stuff. That's crazy. I hope that you learned something from this chapter, because that's the end of chapter 14. We're going to break down chapter 15, which prepare yourselves, because it's very sad. It'll make you mad. Chapter 15 is what we're going to break down next, though. And thank you for joining me. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. And remember that you got that God power. I got that God power.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.